What is the most powerful trait we have? You need power, speed. Let your imagination do the rest.
Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.
Boxing King Media, Mr. Frazer Clarke, thank you for jumping on today. There's loads to talk about. You know, you've got news for yourself, and obviously we had a big fight at the weekend, so going to get through a couple of things. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate. Very good. Just became a father again on the 17th, so it's been a busy few days. The whoop is telling me that I'm a tired man, but obviously, we've sort of had to get some routine in the first few days of my beautiful daughter's life, and now it's back to training and getting my rest and stuff. So it's all go over here.
Is the whoop like giving you evidence to show your missus you're helping out?
Well, basically, obviously, it just gave me a few days of like terrible sleep and bad recovery because I was doing my bit. Do you know what I mean? And now I've just said to her, "Look, it's time for me to get serious. You know, a British title fight coming up. So, unfortunately, I can do my bit, but the night feeds, then you're gonna have to take over."
Yeah, well, I wish you all the best. What did you name her?
Honey, Robin Clarke. Yeah.
That's a serious name, Honey Robin Clark. Good stuff, mate. I wish you all the best. And obviously, you just touched on it there. British title fight, another life-changing fight that could potentially set you up for big things. Just announced recently, and obviously there was some reaction to it as well, because I think a lot of people are expecting, mainly based on what Eddie Hearn was saying, that Dave Allen was probably going to fight Jamie TKV, and nobody expected your name to pop up. So, the obvious question: when did you first know that this was potentially going to be happening?
Well, obviously, I've wanted to fight for the British title. I think I'm more than deserving to fight for the British title. So I heard about this probably the night before it got announced, like sort of late hours. Obviously I was over the moon, and I can understand Dave wanting to box for the British title. I can understand Eddie wanting Dave to box for the British title. Um, but I was chosen. I was the chosen one. I was over the moon with it, and I understand the public and everyone's thing with Dave. Listen, he's very popular, but unfortunately, this is not a popularity contest. This is boxing. And if we strip it all back and go to the boxing, I've already beat him. To be fair, um, yes, he had a good win against Johnny Fisher, which was fantastic for him. But I don't know if that what can you just sort of float in and out of boxing, come back, decide right, I'm gonna be committed to it now, and have one good win and get that opportunity. What makes him more deserving than me? I lived the life. I love the sport, and I've been doing it consistently for years. So I would have been upset for him to just decide right, I'm gonna give it a go now, come back in, have one victory, and then go fight for the British title. But listen, the board made the decision, and I'm happy it's me.
Well, the recent form, because that was like a bit of a debate, because I saw what Eddie was saying the other day, and he mentioned the African guy that you fought recently, Tete, and kind of downplaying him. But just looking at the recent form from both of you, Dave, he lost to you in 2023. He beat two journeymen on the bounce, an English guy and a foreign guy. Lost split decision to Johnny Fisher, then obviously beat him in the rematch. And your recent form is obviously Tete, a stoppage loss to Fabio Wardley, a controversial split decision to Fabio Wardley, and then a win over Dave Allen. Uh, so based on that, who would you feel you deserve it more? Because to be
Think
fair,
so. I mean,
the telling factor is your win over Dave or Dave's win over Johnny Fisher, which wins greater.
I suppose that's it. I mean, like I say, I mean, when I boxed Dave, it was sort of just another name on the list. As I was sort of up and coming. On the way to fighting for the British title the first time. And yeah, like Eddie said, I got spandangled by Fabio, and it took a lot to sort of come back and get in the ring and get my win against Tete, who, by the way, had just done like I think 8 rounds with Dillian White and had a close fight. Who, by the way, not long ago was going to fight Anthony Joshua. So if you put all things into account, I don't see a problem with me fighting for the British title. I know a lot of people do and say it should have been Dave. Dave deserved it. But I don't know if that's the talking through boxing merit or is that like the sub, not the sub story, but the Dave Allen train of, oh, he's one of the people, he's one of the guys. He doesn't give a shit. He look at him. Listen, look at him. He dresses like us. He can be scruffy. He don't care. He's one of the lads. I understand it. Oh, he can have a, he can, like, oh, he's one of the guys. Like, I get it. Like, he's a popular character. Um, but this game isn't based on popularity to an extent. To an extent, it is, but to an extent, the results are what matters.
Yeah, like I said, there's some fair and valid points there. And it does seem like it was either Dave's popularity and the Fisher win over your popularity and the win over Dave that was the winner. But either way, you've got the opportunity. And
But yeah,
when
I'm not comparing mine to Dave's popularity. He's way more popular than me because he spends way more time than me on the phone, with the phone in his face, talking to the camera, being relatable. Not that I'm not relatable. I just have a family and kids and other things going on in my life. Like I do my bit for the socials and this and that, but I can't tell them every nook and cranny about what's going on in my life. This is boxing and business is one thing. My family life and what I do with my family and my children is I keep it separate. Do you know what I mean?
when could this date be? I know there's still ongoing talks where Boxer are likely to end up with regards to a TV network, but do you have like a rough idea when this fight might be?
I'd like it to be like end of September. I don't have a clue yet, to be honest. I think there's work happening in the background to try and make that happen. Um, like I say, I'm just working. I'm in the gym. As soon as I get the green light, I'll be ready to go into camp. Do you know what I mean? I'll be ready. I'll probably have the green light, which will give me a couple of days off as such, because, like I say, I'm working hard now. Now I'll be fresh to go into a camp and give it 8, 9 weeks of whatever we need to give it.
Well, I wish you all the best, and I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good fight, mate. If the rumors are true and it ends up on the BBC, potential fight between you and TKV for a British heavyweight title on BBC One. If it is on BBC One, again, it's all speculation. That I think that would break crazy, crazy viewing numbers. But let's see what happens. The other thing I want to talk to you about, Fraser, is the fight of the weekend. It was kept quite low key, but you went across and sparred Alexander Usyk as well. So
Yeah.
obviously you can't. I know they're very tight knit with regards to their sparring. Like your trainer's not allowed
Hmm.
to come, only the fighters are allowed. I
Yeah.
think they did a week or two there, but hopefully you can tell me now that the fight's done with. Was he fighting aggressive in sparring? Because the way he was loading up, a lot of people haven't seen him fight like that before.
Yeah, so with regards to the camp, I was very gutted. It got cut short for me because of my missus was ready to drop. We had a little bit of a scare where we thought she was going to go into labour, so I had to come back straight away. The conditions of me going was if she has any twinges, then I have to get back because I didn't want to miss the birth of my daughter. And they were really good. They were really understanding of that. Do you know what I mean? So, but I was lucky enough to get a few rounds in, and like I said, I've not said too much about the sparring. Obviously, the sort of the code is the code. But what I will say is there was three or four of us a lot bigger than him. A lot stronger than him. Not stronger, but a lot, physically bigger than him. And I didn't see him run away from anyone. Do you know what I mean? So I had a bit of an idea of what was going to happen because they asked us to. They're open about it. They said, listen, take it to this guy and try and put a beating on Alexander Usyk. That's what they asked to do, which is a lot easier said than done. But yeah, he's such a good professional, mate. It was only a short time for me, but an experience well worth it.
Yeah, I think when I kind of realized that he wasn't gonna be messing around, because I asked his team, how big is the ring on fight night? And they basically, and you would assume, top of your head, they want a big ring so you can box on the outside, etc. And their words were, his friend Sergey Lapins goes, the smaller the better. And I got the message.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, he is he's very good. Like, I heard some people in commentary saying, "Oh my God, his feet are mesmerizing. This is that." Like for me, it's not mesmerizing. It's just very good basics done at like a top level. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like if you're taking a kid in the gym and you ask him to do, put a good hand position, a good base, good movement, um, good output. You know, you're looking at the top professional in the world there. He does it, but he don't do it. Doesn't do it for 2 minutes around, 1 minute around. He does it consistently. He does it very well.
Talking about the fight, before we talk about the how the fight unfolded, you will have seen in the last 24 hours there's been so much news coming out, and it's probably
Yeah,
the talking point than the actual bloody fight. This pre-fight antics and things that happened
yeah,
before. It was labeled as a party, but I'm going to call it a gathering now because Don Charles has done some interviews
yeah.
today.
That's it.
And,
Yeah,
and I don't think you like the wording party. Obviously, it was a group of people there, and they've admitted that there was more people there today than they had for the pre-gathering for ages fight. So obviously, there's a video out there. I'm assuming you've seen it.
yeah. I've seen it. I was on the way to the gym this morning. I had the radio on. I could listen to Don Charles and what he was saying. I mean, this is where it again. I'm not boxing at the level of Daniel Dubois, so I don't want people to say, "Oh, what does he know?" This and that. I'm just talking from personal experience. That wouldn't work for me. Or if it's something that's worked for him before, I can half understand the thought behind doing it again. But for me, from what I see in the video I seen, it looked quite uncomfortable for him. Um, and I would just be interested to know how many of them people was around on the Sunday morning. Do you know what I mean? I suspect not many of them. So it's not for me. But I'm not here to tell Daniel DeBar, who's done a lot more than me in the sport, what he should and shouldn't do. But yeah, for me, that'd be a massive no go.
The Obviously everyone's different, what I mean, and it's obvious that in a Team Dubois, and I think Don talked about it today. They operate differently because that is what works for them. So we can't really criticize it because, as you said there, he's become a world champion, won pretty
Yeah,
much everything, and he's fought Alexander Usyk twice and AJ. So it's easy to knock it now because he's lost. So
yeah.
just based on that, do you think? Is it like a British thing? Because obviously there's a lot of people talking about this now. I mean, I'm just having it as a discussion. Do we focus too much on negatives, do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
I wouldn't say it's a British thing. I would say anyone in the world that's seen that video would have an opinion about it. If they knew the, especially anyone in the boxing circle, the circumstances. Um, you know me from previous situations. On the fight, we try and avoid it as much as we try and avoid as many situations as possible. Sometimes they happen, but if you can avoid them and sort of keep yourself to yourself, that's my preferred method. But with Daniel, again, I think he's probably going off experience. And when Don put it how he put it, you can all sit back and say, you know what, sort of makes sense. His best performance to date, he did this. He's now done it on a bigger scale because he's going into a bigger fight. That seems quite logical. But it's just the visuals what I got. It didn't look. I'm not Daniel the boss at Ice feeling, but it didn't look like he felt so comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
There's obviously another talking point, and no one, to be fair, has clarified this, so we don't know if this is true or speculation. That obviously the people in this party then rocked up at the venue and they didn't have tickets, and then apparently there's a suggestion that Dan's dad said, "Well, if you don't let these people in, Dan's not fighting." So they've got in the cars and carried on driving around, and that's why he was late. Again, like I said, it's only speculation. So have you? I don't know if you've heard anything or.
I did hear this speculation, but again, that there's no way of putting it up. That just can't be helpful. For a fighter, that just can't be helpful because you sort of feel like you do feel a bit of a responsibility, unless you've got that don't give a shit attitude, which I don't think Dan has. You would feel some sort of pressure, and it's just pressure you don't need. You got enough pressure as it is. You're about to fight in front of 96,000 against arguably one of the best fighters in the world. You need to them pressures are something that you don't need and shouldn't want.
Obviously it wouldn't work for you because you've obviously never done it, but do you think any of that could have impacted him? Because obviously there's all these suggestions now about his ring walk, he looked different this time, etc., etc. Was it because obviously we don't want to take the shine away from Usyk here, but was it just Alexander Usyk is just too good, or did these factors potentially play a part?
I mean, Alexander Usyk was fantastic, and I still think he would have won the fight. Whether Daniel walked down to the ring looking like $1 million, or he didn't. I think the ring walk. A lot of people can sort of talk about it a little bit too much. I'd like to see the stats of other people's ring walks and how they look, and some people, I don't know, could roly poly to the ring and get in there and win. I think it's a little bit too much made of that. But I do think if you are a professional fighter and you're going into a fight, it's definitely not added to you. It's probably taken away. These little things, I'm talking 1%, is probably taken away, which you don't need against the caliber of fight you're going in with.
Good stuff. Do you think anyone beats Alexander Usyk from the current crop of fighters,
Um,
if he has one more?
no, I don't. I think he beats everyone. Just off what I've seen, I think I've been having this debate with a few friends. I think the person that stands the chance of the best, the the toughest fight for him. I know there's a lot of names flying about, and obviously I love Joseph Parker. I think the toughest stylistic fight with him would be Ajit Caballero. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, could be right, but I think that is a tougher fight for him. Someone who can fight at a tempo, he can work the body without loading up. Um, and I just think stylistically, I think that could be a harder fight. And I feel like in a fight like that, he would opt for a slightly bigger ring. Mate, I might be wrong, but it's just my opinion.
Okay, I got an awkward question for you. Play out a fight between Alexander Usyk versus Frazer Clarke.
Oof.
What happens in it, and how does it end?
Well, I don't go out there throwing single jabs or loading up with power shots because basically after 3 or 4 rounds and you're sapped full of energy, your energy's gone because you've loaded up and you try to miss big shots. Um, I I tried to box fight him, I think. Yeah, that is an awkward question. Listen, he's
I'll tell you
undeniably the
what,
best fighter.
you could answer with your heart and you can answer with your brain if you want.
Now I'm going to use my brain. I'm going to use my brain and say that he outboxes me, but I wouldn't be naive enough to go and load up with big shots, and I'd be super fit. So I don't think I'd like to say he doesn't stop me. But he definitely probably outpoints me.
What do the scorecards read at the end?
I'm winning a round. I'm maybe winning two. I'm giving myself a round or two, 100%.
118, 110.
110, something like that. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I appreciate you answering that one. Um, Last one, Lawrence Okoli. Can you see a future fight between you and Lawrence Okoli?
Ooh, Lawrence is my friend, man. He's a good friend. I know him for a long time. And obviously the level he's operating at now, I've got to do some working to get there. But I think if he becomes a world champion, or even if he don't, the way the box is now, I could see a fight with me and Lawrence. Even though it'd be a very difficult one, like I say, a real good friend of mine and someone that I've got so much time for. But listen, we're in a competitive sport of fighting, and I don't mind doing that with anyone.
Good man. Fraser, that's pretty much it, mate. Appreciate you coming on and give me your input, and I'll catch up with you soon.
No worries, brother. Good to see you.
The most powerful trait we have. You need power, speed. Let your imagination do the rest.
Undisputed, the Mexican Monster Pack out now.